know, we have our bouts of weather here in Middle Tennessee, and we are just about to get into severe weather season. I'm First Alert Chief Meteorologist Lisa Spencer. That severe weather season for us here is March, April, and May, even though we know thunderstorms can occur any time of the year. And this week happens to be Severe Weather Awareness Week. So we want to make sure you are caught up on what to do if you're new to the area. It may surprise you at the tornadoes that we get here in Middle Tennessee. So let's start out talking a little bit about some of the basic things that we want to make sure that you know during severe weather season. So let's start with this. It's always a good idea to prepare ahead of time, meaning that we would like for you to have an emergency kit, as we all just certainly got a taste of. We need to be able to survive on our own if we have a power outage for at least 3 days. And during a thunderstorm, we are certainly do have that possibility of having power outages, and definitely when we get tornadoes, that can also be the case. Power outages and other modes of destruction, as you well know. But let's just start out with the basics here. Here is an equipment checklist for you to make sure that you have. All right, just a few of those items are going to include, we are talking about an air horn. Now, if you don't have an air horn, a whistle. What that's for is to let people know where you are. Let's say you were in your storm shelter. You want them to be able to find you there. So if you can make a lot of noise so they'll know that can help. So a whistle will work, or if you have an air horn or you want to go purchase one, you can do that too. All right, let's make sure that you have got batteries and a flashlight. All right, so make sure you have batteries for whatever devices that you may have. And another thing, and we'll get to that in a second, is going to be for cell phones. All right, so boots. If there is a tornado in your area, and there was destruction, there's going to be a lot of glass around or other things that can cut your feet. So if you've got a good pair of sturdy shoes or a pair of boots, would be great to keep in your little equipment box. And it could be just it could be something like a cooler, or it could be, I always think of all of these bags that I have, these reusable bags that would make great sort of keepers of emergency equipment. So you can use one of those as well. You also want to make sure that you've got your cell phone. And the thing that I was going to say about your cell phone is that you'll want to have one of those portable chargers that you can already have charged up and ready to go in case you are out of power for a prolonged period of time. A first aid kit. If somebody does get hurt, you want to make sure you have the basic things to treat a simple wound. And, gosh, some aspirin in there as well. You may have a headache after all this is over with. And another idea is going to have your flashlight in there. I mean, that's just kind of a no-brainer. You got to be able to see, right? Food, and we're talking about food that can last for a while, has a long shelf life. I always think of peanut butter or a canned tuna, things like that can help you out. Peanut butter and cracker, those little snack packages that can stay on the shelf for a while. Bags of nuts, some of those have a little longer shelf life. Something that you can eat that you can keep in that little pack for a little while. Also a helmet. It can be a bicycle helmet, any kind of sports helmet. A motorcycle helmet is one of the best that you can use. That's great to have in your emergency kit, especially during a tornado, because that helmet can actually protect your head from flying debris. Water, definitely a basic. You want to make sure you've got plenty of water for everybody in your household. Remember, you want to be able to take care of yourself for 3 days, all right? So that means plenty of water for you. And a weather radio. I know many of you may think that is old technology, but still today, weather radios are used. They're a great way of finding out what's going on, where there are watches and warnings, and even after the fact, you can find out forecast information. So all of those types of things are going to help you. So try to get that kit together so you'll be ready for any weather emergency, whether it be from severe storms or anything else. All right, now let's talk about some basic terms that we use all the time during severe weather. That's going to be watch and warning. A watch, for example, that's going to be something that's issued for several hours, maybe 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's for portions of a state like southern Kentucky and northern Middle Tennessee. And it's also going to be an opportunity for you to think ahead. What is going on with the weather today? I need to make sure that I'm able to find out the latest forecast or the latest conditions. All those things are going to be beneficial. Now, you're going to have hours of advance notice for this, so you're going to have time to think about your plan if you should have a tornado in the area. And then a warning, those are going to last for a very short period of time, from the time it takes for the storm to enter your area and exit your area. So that's going to be 20 minutes to maybe an hour. It's going to be issued for portions of a county. Now, it might be for a whole county, but usually it's for portions of 2 different counties. For example, it might be for eastern Davidson County and western Wilson County. So think of it in those terms. And it's not going to be one of those where you're going to get a lot of advance notice. Sometimes on average, we have found that tornado warnings are out 13 minutes ahead of time before a tornado reaches a given point. So you're not going to have a lot of time. That's why you need to have that plan ahead of time, and you'll want to take cover. So watch means you're on the lookout. Warning means you take action now and get to your safe place. So a couple of key terms that you need to know for really most any time of the year, but particularly during severe weather season. You'll hear us issuing those the most, and they're actually issued by the National Weather Service, and we're relaying that information. We believe to have that we need to have one voice when it comes to warnings, but of course we're going to be tracking things on your radar and let you know what we're seeing there as well. All right, let's take a look at tornado shelter options, and we're going to talk more about this during our day, which is going to focus totally on tornadoes. But you want to think about the safest place you can be. Unsafe to be in a mobile home, not a good place at all. It's much better to be in an interior room of a well-constructed home or building. And the most safe place you can be is going to be right there in the basement. That's going to be the best place to be during a tornado. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, though, on our specific day for tornadoes. Let's go back over those watches and warnings again. Just kind of a refresher here. If you hear a watch, that means a tornado has been reported or indicated? Absolutely not. The big X on that one. That is a tornado warning. Do you need to shelter immediately? Not for a tornado watch, but you do need to for a tornado warning. And do you have time to plan? Yes, if it's a watch. No, if it's a warning. And should you closely monitor weather conditions? That's a yes for tornado watch and also for tornado warning. And one thing I want to remind you of is our app is always available on your phone. And we want you to have more than one way to find out about warnings, but that's going to be a great one. Kind of the similar answers for a severe thunderstorm, but not quite all of them. Here's why. Has severe weather been reported or indicated? No, if it's a severe thunderstorm watch. Yes, if it's a severe thunderstorm warning. And do you need to shelter immediately? No, if it's a watch. You're just watching. You're on the lookout. But yes, if it is a tornado, or excuse me, a severe thunderstorm warning. And you could have a tornado warning issued right after a severe thunderstorm warning if one happens to spin up during that time. Do you have time to plan? Yes, for a watch. No for a warning. And should you closely monitor weather conditions? Absolutely, on both counts. And with that said, I mentioned the 2 ways to have an alert system. Well, your phone is going to be one. We've got the alerts that will come straight to you, and you can check those. Make sure you've got the alerts you want with notifications clicked on your phone. And sometimes I'll have people say, well, I just don't use it anymore because I don't want all of those notifications. Well, if there are notifications coming on your phone that you don't want, just get in there and change the settings and take those notifications off. But I would ask that you not take them off for tornadoes or severe thunderstorm warnings, because those are key, and even flash flood warnings, which lead me to what today's topic is. For flash flooding is the primary topic for this day. You've heard this saying before: turn around, don't drown. You want to find another route. If you run upon a sign like this that said roads closed or flooding possible, you'll want to turn around and go a different way. You just don't want to take the chance. And let me show you why. Here is a look you're running down the road and you run upon this sign, you are going to want to turn around. Heavy rain can lead to rapid water rising in low-lying areas and rivers. I mean fast. And it doesn't take much water at all. 6 inches of water means that a person can be swept away. Just 6 inches. 12 inches of water, a car, SUV can be swept away, and 18 inches, a large vehicle can be swept away. So those are things that you need to keep in mind when there's flooding in the area. And the difference between a watch and a warning, we mentioned it a second ago. A flash flood watch, conditions are favorable for flooding, so you'll want to be prepared. And if you have a flash flood warning, that water is rising now and you need to get to higher ground. Or definitely if you're in an area where it's going over the road, you'll want to turn around and get back to a more safe location. And there, my friends, is your little introduction to Severe Weather Awareness Week. We do want to remind you that our First Alert Severe Weather team is going to be out along with a lot of folks from emergency management and from the National Weather Service, and that is coming up this Saturday. So here's your reminder on that. Our First Alert Weather team will be there. We'll be there the entire time. It is from 9 throughout the afternoon. So we'll be there for that morning portion where you can go around and visit different booths. And then during the afternoon, they have pre-planned sessions. And you can find out all about what sessions are planned. We have a story about this on our website at WSMV.com. So check it out there. But Darius is going to be there. Bree will be there. Stefano DiPietro, Melanie Layden, and I will also be there. We actually have some snowbird goodies to pass along, and I'll have my children's book, and that is The Wonder Dogs Caught in a Thunderstorm. That is a great, great introduction for little kiddos when it comes to severe weather. So I hope that you'll join me for that event that is coming up this Saturday. Have a great day, and remember, each day this week, we're going to be giving you tips, more tips about severe weather with a different topic each day.